This video is brought to you by Bitbox NES game cases. There is no better way to protect, store, and show off your NES game collection. Only available at stoneagegamer.com/bitbox. Skip it up and that up. What's going on, kids? Rich of Review Tech USA, and don't rub your eyes, you read the title of this video correctly. This is a talk and play. Now, for those guys who are new to my channel, which is probably 80% of my subscribers, what is a talk and play? I play a game and talk about it. It's not a review, it's not a commentary, it's not a playthrough. It's just a game I'm interested in, or I think is interesting to talk about, even if it sucks, and I give you my opinion on it. So if you want to take it as a review, sure you can, but it's really not. I don't know if that helped at all. I probably made what I'm doing here more confusing, but whatever, enjoy the video. I'm going to talk about random crap. So what's going on? So what you're looking at the screen is literally me playing Wolfenstein 3D on actual Sega Genesis hardware. There is a guy developing Wolfenstein 3D for the Sega Genesis. He's just doing homebrew, and it's phenomenal, as you see. He just came out actually with a new version. This isn't the newest version. This is version B7. He just came out with an April 24th, I believe, B8. So, yeah, I mean, this is done with bone stock. I actually played this on the Sega Genesis Model 3 using the EverDrive, and there's no chips in there there's no DSPs or special processors inside the Mega EverDrive to push this game. So this is actually bone stock Sega hardware that's pushing Wolfenstein 3D right now. Now it's interesting because I know there was other first-person shooters back in the day for the Sega Genesis. There was Zero Tolerance. There was another game. You're going to hear my mouse click right now because I saved it on the screen. A game called Bloodshot. I couldn't remember the damn name of it for the life of me. There was Duke Nukem 3D that was never released in the States for the Sega Genesis. It was a god-awful port of Duke Nukem. It wasn't even really a port. It was like a really crappy version of Wolfenstein 3D with a couple of the sprites from Duke Nukem to make it look like a Duke Nukem game, and it was really poorly done. But this is, I mean, if you remember, there was an official release of Wolfenstein 3D for the Super Nintendo, and this just wipes the fucking floor with it. I mean, I don't know if you ever played Wolfenstein 3D for the Super Nintendo. I have. I think I even played it back in the day as a kid, and the sprite, first off, it was censored, which, shocking, that was Nintendo's thing back then. So you didn't have any swastikas, you didn't have any references to Adolf Hitler or the Nazis. It was an ultra generic first-person shooter. But to add insult to injury, I mean, as you see here, I mean, even though it's not taking up the full screen, it's still taking up a good chunk of the screen. The wall textures in this homebrew of Wolfenstein 3D for the Sega Genesis are actually pretty nice. Like, you could see the stones on the wall, you could see the swastikas, you could just see Adolf Hitler, you could see all that stuff. If you played the SNES version of Wolfenstein 3D, it was a pixelated mess. You couldn't see the enemies on screen. The wall textures, like the pixels were as big as my ass. It was insane. Like it was a horrible port. And you would think with, you know, the Mode 7 technology and other stuff, it would have been more capable. But this right here, I mean, this looks like I'm playing on like a 386 PC. I mean, the frame rate, I would say, is like between 12 and 15 frames per second, which, you know, for you, especially you young guys, you're probably laughing your ass off. But when you played this on a 386 or 286 back in the day, which I did, that's what it ran at. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound impressive, but you know, this game was designed to run on ancient PCs back in the day. Like I said, it could run on a 286, which was a 16-bit processor that's coming off of memory. So if I'm wrong about something there, don't jump on me, PC guys. But yeah, I mean, everything's there with this too. I mean, it's only the first episode, okay? It's not all of the episodes from the full game of Wolfenstein. It's kind of like the shareware version, but the music's intact. All the vocal voice samples, excuse me, they're all there, and it plays really good on the Genesis controller. You have A to shoot, C opens doors and it makes you strafe, and I think one of the X, Y, or Z, if you have a 6-button controller, they have you switch weapons. I'm not sure because I have only switched weapons like twice when I played this. I usually stick to the machine gun. I haven't gotten that far either because I really suck at this game. But you could also work with a 3-button controller. So if you guys have an EverDrive, you want to try this out, you don't have a 6-button laying around, you could use a 3-button, and I think you just have to press 2 buttons at once to be able to switch weapons. So it's completely playable on there. You just have to switch to 3-button mode in the options. But yeah, I mean, this is a phenomenal, and it kind of makes you wonder, why didn't Sega push for this back in the day? I mean, look at it. It's exactly like the PC version. Yeah, the colors are a little subdued because the Genesis, as a lot of you guys know, can only do 64 simultaneous colors on the screen at once out of a palette of 512, I believe. Once again, I'm coming off the top of the head. But this is pretty much a one-for-one port, as much as I've played it of it so far. Maybe there is some stuff missing, but it'd be interesting to see what they did with the guy did with the newest revision of this, and see maybe he smoothed out the frame rate, maybe even improved the textures a little more. I'll have to try that out. But yeah, if you have, I mean, you could play it on an emulator too, but honestly, what's the point of playing on an emulator? Just play the original Wolfenstein game. But if you have, you know, an original Sega Genesis, it works on, like I said, I'm playing this on Genesis Model 3. If you have Sega Genesis hardware, whether it be a Sega Genesis 1, 2, or 3, and you have an EverDrive, I'll have a link below in the description. You can download it, put it on your EverDrive, and play it. And as you'll see, it works, and it works phenomenal. Really impressive port. I hope he finishes. I hope he does the full game. I don't really think that, you know, id or Bethesda are really going to give a shit if he's making this for Sega Genesis. I don't really see why would they go after him and bring him to court or anything like that for copyright, because they weren't going to make it for the Sega Genesis anyway. So I hope he finishes it. It's phenomenal. I strongly suggest, if you can, to check it out, and I give this a huge thumbs up. It feels just like the PC version. Great controls, great gameplay, and amazing visuals for what was supposedly pretty limited hardware. I highly recommend this. It's a blast, and it's amazing to see the Sega Genesis hardware run this game so well. Alright folks, make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and as always, thank you for supporting Review Tech USA. Have a good one.